gentlemen, we have a feed and sound and a bunch of people actually already waiting, which is pretty awesome. Right on. Welcome to the DSLR Video Shooter live stream. We do this every week at Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you guys are doing great. We got a bunch of people in the chat already. My goodness. Let me go ahead and turn this music all the way down here. Boom. We got Peter, Bad Karma, Adrian, Cats, Dogs, Marcus, Tobler, Andrew, Real Guy with a Tie, and others. Welcome, everybody. How are we looking? I messed around with the settings as usual. Today, we're on the Sony a6000 because reasons, and playing around with the autofocus. So, everything should be working okay. And yeah, ooh, good question, Steve. Cubs or Sox? I'm definitely a Cubs fan, or at least I grew up in a family that was all about the Cubs, so therefore indoctrinated. So yeah, I wasn't one of those posers who was like, oh, yay, Cubs, they won because popularity. All right, so today we are going to play around with, I almost said Adobe, Blackmagic Design DaVinci Resolve. And this title says, what do we say here exactly? Trying DaVinci Resolve for the first time live. Now, I have been in the application several versions ago and just like clicked two things and then left. So I have seen some videos of people editing on it, so I understand like the little couple of scenes or modes. Definitely right now, guys, if you guys use Resolve, shout out in the comments, and I would love to know if any of you guys kind of know what's going on and can walk me through a few things, because that would be super dope. So let's go ahead and get started. I forgot to shoot out a tweet here, so we're just gonna see if we can collect a few more people to laugh at me. Boom. Okay, so we're gonna hop on over and we're going to move that over there, and we're going to open Resolve and see what happens. Okay, we've got a bunch of colorful people. This is Resolve 14. I looked to see if I could get 15, and I don't even know how to do that. I don't know if it's available yet or not, so you guys can tell me if that's silly. Scrolling down here. Still on 14. Okay, so 15 must be in beta. Thank you, Diane. Untitled project. I'm just going to double click that. Hopefully my computer doesn't crash during all of this. And here we go. Okay, so I did see in a video these tabs here at the bottom. We've got media, edit, color, yada, yada, yada. So I'm going to import some stuff. And last time I was in here, I did some raw, so maybe we'll do this. We'll actually try to edit a video, like a video that I haven't edited yet. So I'm going to grab some GH5S footage. Hopefully it works. I just drug it into this media pool thing and nothing happened. Let's try dragging in this folder. Interesting. If you guys know what's up, tell me. Here we go. Ready? Boop. There we go. Now it's working, I think. It's only showing up as audio. Maybe it doesn't like the MP4 file. At least that's all I'm seeing is audio. Interesting. Well, let's move on to something else, unless you guys know what's up with that. Maybe it needs to be transcoded or something. All right, so I'm going into my RAID here. I'm going to try to find something else. I did shoot some on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, so obviously that's going to work. So we'll just do that. So I'm going to delete those. And we're going to drag in big old folder. Okay. Try that again. Drag, release. Anyone know what's going on, guys? Oh, it doesn't work with the free version unless you're just pulling my leg. Doesn't like H.265. 8-bit footage only. I swear this has worked before, because I have done RAW without the paid version. Well, this is awkward. Let me see. You need to navigate to the folder in the toolbar. Okay. Folder in the toolbar. So here we go. Add new location. Boop. Boop. Let's do that. Okay. And let's navigate to, what should we do? Here's our Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera stuff. Okay. Loading. Beach ball. Can I just grab all these? And change the frame rate, I guess, is what I just did. All right, so we have clips. I suppose we'll go to the Edit tab. And can I drag them in there, or can I move them with a right click? New timeline using selected clips. Let's do it. Sure. Okay. So this is Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera footage. And it looks like it linked everything up just fine. File open. Yeah, let's see if we can get that GH5S stuff in there. I'm pulling it from within a camera archive that I created with Final Cut, so we'll try that again real quick. Go in here, show package contents. I'll just find the one. Can I just drop it in here? Would that be crazy? No. Let's go import media. And I'll just drag that there. Open. Yeah, I guess that just won't work. It's showing up as a audio clip. So, right. Oh, we got some pros in here. Good. Been using Resolve for 9 months. That's a heck of a lot longer than 5 minutes, so I'll take it. Already noticing some differences. Some things are the same. Scrolling around. I'm not going to spend too much time boring you guys. Can I do that? Yes, I can. That's the same. So I could get used to this, even though I've only barely touched it. So let's do some grading. Color. Cool. Show us the properties of your GH5 file. In the media pool or in Finder? Properties. Properties. Well, I'm clicking on it now, so it's down here in this area over here. It's only showing up as music, which is really weird. All right, so yeah, going back to the color tab, let's pick a shot. Why not start with some boring flowers? I know there's a shot in here somewhere. There's one, but I thought there was a nicer one. Here we go. Flowers, right. So, we've got some, all right, so I've done this in the past. So we've got, this is raw footage, so we can play with that. And clip. So decode using clip, and now we can play with the settings for this camera here. Little thing, I'm working on my ProRes RAW series, and this is what I miss. So I don't know if you guys can see, but right down here, this little panel area with all these controls for the actual raw data that the camera outputs via DNG is missing. In Final Cut, and when you're working with ProRes RAW, you just start moving stuff around. I really hope they add this, because on some cameras, it's really nice to know, okay, let's say the native ISO is 400. It's really nice to be able to know I can dial that in. And right now, that's not possible. Drop in a serial node. Serial node. Yeah, nodes, I don't know nothing about the whole node life. So this is completely new to me. I've seen a couple tutorials, but not even close to being able to make that happen. So you were saying serial node. I don't even know what that means or how to even start. So if you want to fill me in on that, whoever was dropping that. Yeah. So we've got some raw stuff here. Let's pull up some scopes. How do I do that? Little fun tip. I use this a lot. If you click the help in almost any application in OS 10, you can search for stuff. So let's just search for scopes. There we go. Turn on. Okay. Very pretty scopes. Let me move it over here so you guys can see that. And I'm going to change this to something like that. Can I make this bigger? Nope. So that's all we got. Okay. And let's play with this. I'm gonna change. I don't want this. I want a waveform and like Luma. There we go. All right, we're slowly getting this cake baked. And yeah, so I can choose the ISO. I'm gonna go with 400. Again, this is Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera. I already have a node. Cool. I'm guessing that's what this is. And color wheels. There we go. Color wheels. Let's get our highlights dialed in a little bit. I have no idea what this is going to look like for you guys, so if it looks super contrasty, hopefully it should behave somewhat normally. Do something like that. Not too crushed. I'm looking over at the stream to see what that kind of looks like. And then I don't know the best way to like boost saturation. I know that should be, yeah, it's in here under the camera settings. So yeah, that's pretty straightforward, right? What is this? Oh, so you can actually set the black and white points, which is interesting. Let me find a clip where that would make sense. Maybe somewhere over here. Okay, black point. I don't really see anything black in this scene, but for kicks, we'll just choose that shirt. Okay, that's really cool. I like that a lot. Make the sky white. Interesting. Okay. Because usually what I do in Final Cut, and someday we're going to do me editing in Final Cut, because this is going to make me look like an idiot. So we'll do, maybe I'll edit a whole episode over there just so you guys get an idea of the workflow that I go through. But usually I find myself with wheels, a little bit of curves, and sometimes some hue versus saturation stuff. Right click on the serial node to, oh, so LUTs, yeah. Right, so we'll go to the LUTs and play with that too. Usually I just start with log and start grading. I don't always play much with LUTs, which is an interesting, if you live the LUT life, you might give a straight up grading a shot, because I think you can learn a lot from that. So this shot needs some love on the saturation, and our ISO is way jacked up, although it's pretty dark. So I don't know what the difference between changing the ISO values in the camera raw versus exposure. I would imagine they're different, obviously. I'm watching the waveform to see how the clipping's reacting. Anyway, saturation. I'm trying to not be blinded by my light above me. So that doesn't look too bad. Highlights are, let's do this. A little bit of that. I'm surprised my computer isn't choking too much, even though I'm not really playing anything. Right, so we do have people in here who know what they're doing, it seems, which is awesome. Good place to start for a grade. All right, so let's rock some LUTs, shall we? Let's find another shot. What do we got here? Some pretty nice backlit stuff. Okay, so right click, node, 3D LUT, and imagine I want to go with what here? It's got to be in here for the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. 4K broadcast cinema camera V2. That's interesting. Okay, that's not bad. Let's work with that. Maybe change some ISO values. Looks a little flat, but it's something. 15 has a LUT browser update. Sweet. Yeah. So I'm on 14, guys, for those just tuning in. If you choose the scope, then click on the thing next to keyframes. Okay. Oh, I lost my scopes, didn't I? This is... If you close the scopes, then right-click on the thing next to keyframes. Built into the UI. Thing next to keyframes. Where's keyframes? Key? Sizing? Blur? Obviously, I'm struggling there. Anyways, so we got a LUT on here. Looks like it's Blackmagic legit one. I'm dying to look at this. Nice. Yeah. Okay. So I obviously I'm slow. I'm new, but I could see this. It looks great. The interface looks actually amazing. I'm really happy with the Final Cut, but this looks really clean. I hate Adobe, and I gave it a shot. So it's not like I just was an Apple fanboy forever. After Final Cut 7 kind of took a dump, or was, you know, essentially they gave it an end of life date. I went ahead and used Adobe for probably a year. I don't remember what version it was, because I had tried Final Cut 10, the initial release, and I wasn't wild about it. But then after they made some updates, I went back and have been a Final Cut 10 user for a long, long time. Dave Dugdale, what's going on? Not yet moved to 15, waiting for a month or so. So Dave, you've been using Resolve for a good while, I feel. I feel like really early on, when they first introduced the editing capabilities, you were on board. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah. What would you say are the things I should try? Anyone can jump in here, please. Is there anything I should try that I don't know about coming from Final Cut? Is there, like, if you're going to try Resolve, you got to check out XYZ? I'm on a Mac. I'm on a Hackintosh right now. And it's probably comparable to like an iMac 5K-ish, except it has an NVIDIA graphics card and not nothing from AMD. Way too frustrating to grade in Adobe. Use the line next to color panel, same as Photoshop, control contrast and light. Oh, so curves, right, yeah. Gotta love your curves. Although this, how do I kill this LUT? Huh? Oops. Turn that off. Okay. No LUTs, right? Nope. Still has a LUT. Reset node grade. Okay, so that reset everything, I think. Yeah, curves are fun. I like them. Nice. Oh, interesting. So there's a lot to explore here. I know I'm really excited to play with kill LUT reset node. Okay, cool. Really excited to play with the power of the color correction and grading in the software. Being able to do power windows, which this looks like a power window, right? Yep. And all that fun stuff, because all that's kind of lacking, or it's pretty poor over on the, you know, Apple end. Okay. Adobe Tribe Riot. Rise Against. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of people every couple updates. I just watch Twitter explode with angry Adobe users. top-notch grades. Work with multiple nodes. Yeah, because you can like connect all kinds of stuff together, right? I don't know how to do that, but we'll definitely get into that. I wanted to actually edit a video, but this doesn't want to play nice with my GH5S footage. Dave, you still in here? Or have you moved on? Face refinement tool. Okay, talk to me. How do I do that? Face refinement tool. So let me find a video with a face, and you guys can work with me. This will do. Yeah. So we'll work with that. How do you enable your graphics card? I don't know. Alt S to add a new node. Bing bong. Okay, there it is. And now what? Do FX. Not sure what you mean. Open FX area. Where's that? Is that down here at the very bottom, or is that kind of in this in-betweensy land? FX. Top right. Oh, bingo. Okay. Okay, so we're looking for that face thing, right? Can I search in here? Yes, I can. Face refinement. Just drag it on this node here. Boom. Limitation. Not yet. So I'll just go with that. Got it, got it. Okay. So we've got things going on here. Now what do I do with this whole face thing? Setting. Okay, analyze. I don't know if that's worth doing. While this analyzes, I'll read what you guys are saying. It's analyzing a bunch of out of focus stuff because filming 2-year-olds is super difficult. Press undo. So are we not doing what I just did? Essentially. Yeah, it's super helpful to have you guys here for sure. 200 people, that's how many are watching? Holy smokes, I would not have expected that. Don't do the face stuff, it sucks. Okay, screw the face stuff. So what's cool about face refinement? Dave, you still here? Talk to me, Dave. Will not work well here. Okay, cool. Smooth. Okay, so there's some stuff here. Let's go to a frame with a normal-ish face position or something like that. Can I just kill that? Okay, there goes that. So maybe it's only usable. Yeah, that'd be fun. I should have you on a live stream, Dave. Be cool. HDR workflow, awesome modern wise. You can smooth skin easily. Okay. Cool. I'll definitely have to play with that. Yeah, there's lots of fun stuff in here. Yeah, this is what I'm excited most about is built-in, really strong. I mean, obviously people can do magic with this software. So I wouldn't be opposed to round tripping and also just getting used to this as an alternative you know, software. I love that it works on a lot of different platforms, that you know, it's going to be amazingly obviously affordable, being free for a lot of people. So another reason I've been getting into it is I wanted to do some kit videos. So let's say you want to start with nothing and set up a little YouTube or whatever, get into video production for $1,000, $2,000. What could you come up with? you know, like a cheap laptop and Resolve. So stabilization, yeah, there's so much to explore. Stabilization, color, power windows, and man, I'm super stoked to play with it more. So maybe we won't spend the whole time talking about this stuff. Maybe we'll do some Q&A. Let me know if there's anything in particular you guys want to show me. Works well, people are saying, to round trip. Sweet. Did you enable your graphics card? I did not. Hardware configuration. This is what it says. So it sees my GPU. It says it's on auto right now. So yeah. It's allocated 4 gigs of memory. Yeah. Where's the timeline? Yeah, so the timeline is, someone just asked. Open preferences, check under system. Will tell you if you're using your graphics card. I know I'm using my graphics card. So it's working. Yeah, so for that person, the one question I can answer is down here under edit. We can go in here and edit. The one thing I definitely am missing immediately is where the playhead follows my mouse. Like, I can't just click right here. I have to like go up to this top bar and move things around. There might be a setting to change that. Yeah, I got snapping down. A lot of the keyboards are the same, which is great. Oops, don't mean to do that. Trim mode. Yeah, so I could get used to this. I could definitely see this being a great piece of software to work with. So, take it easy, Dave. You're taking off. Great. Let's go ahead. Those tabs at the bottom are key. Right on. I don't even know what Fairlight is. That music-y sound stuff. And deliver. Yeah, I'm super excited to play with this. So let's go ahead and close this down. Let's go back to OBS. Switch to this guy right here. And I'm going to focus more on the chat here so I can see what you guys are up to. Yeah. Color management. Lots of cool stuff. Click at the top of the playhead. Oh, well, I'll have to try that. So yeah, how are you guys doing? That was not as bad as I would have thought. Yeah, really stoked to get in there and play more. Maybe we'll do some content down the road. Maybe I'll come up with a couple tips for complete noobs like me. But I'm not going to be doing a lot of content on the software since I don't know much about it. Anything newsy happening recently? I don't think so. We're gearing up for a new couple of Sony cameras. So we're probably going to see an A6700 or something like that before long, as well as the A7S Mark III. So that should be interesting. Neon says, what video work have you done outside of YouTube? So before I did YouTube full-time, I was a full-time shooter editor. Sometimes directy producery stuff, but usually my bread and butter was I had between 2 and 5 producers or directors that I worked for full-time. So I do commercial work, lots of corporate stuff, some fun doc stuff. So that was my job. I built up my kit, and then I had a day rate, and you got, you know, me and the gear. And that's how I got everything started. And I kind of took a jump because I started with just volunteering and just whatever I could find, whatever set I could get on. And then right whatever year that was, 2009, 10, I think, after I'd been starting to do some video work, the 5D and 7D came out. Or what was that, 2008? I can't remember. At any rate, I ended up buying a 7D and went from a complete nobody, barely could call myself a grip, to camera operator, because a lot of the sets I was working on, I was shooting behind the scenes with my little 7D, and you know, people wanted to play with the camera more. So then I learned a lot, because moving from like a handy cam up to something like a large sensor camera was pretty intense. And yeah, that's kind of what I did for years and years and years. Shot hundreds of interviews, and that was my bread and butter. I did some web stuff on the side, some like WordPress development stuff. And because of that, I started DSLR Video Shooter, my website. And that led to where we are today. And then I went full-time doing YouTube. I need to figure out exactly when it was. I want to say it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe even less than that, though. Yeah, so that's the story. I like your screensaver. Thank you. Yeah, a little Overwatch action. What's your current HDR workflow? Well, I haven't done too much with HDR because there's a missing link right now. The camera end, the acquisition is easy. We can all shoot log. So much of it is in 10-bit now, which is great. The issue is being able to see it and edit it. So if you're on Apple hardware, it's pretty expensive to actually be able to see HDR on a monitor while you're grading it. So that's kind of the missing link right now. Sure, you could probably work around it by blind or using, you know, Final Cut has some built-in stuff to work around that. I don't know what it looks like on the Windows end of things. So right now I'm still in Rec 709. Everything's uploaded to Rec 709. But HDR has been on my mind for a long time. I've done some content on it, I think, and I'm looking forward to when that's like a thing and it's not super expensive. Like if you're doing Final Cut, you need to get an HDR monitor, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that expensive. Yes, they're expensive. Like I think a best budget option would be the Atomos Sumo 19M or monitor. So that's like $2,000. And then just to connect your computer to that box or to that monitor, you need a $2,500 box. And I'm pretty sure all you need is HDMI 2.0, which on my system I have because it's a Hackintosh. So I have, you know, graphics card with HDMI 2.0. So, and then there's, you know, you got to feed certain metadata information. So it's a little funky right now, but it's going to get ironed out pretty soon, I think. And that should be fun. Do you use HLG? I do not, because HLG, at least my understanding of it, it's like I would much prefer shooting log, because if you shoot log, that log can be anything. That log can turn into HDR content, HDR10, you know, all kinds of different stuff. It can also be graded for Rec 709. You're capturing as much information as possible, which is always good. HLG doesn't capture as much information as possible. It's going to capture less, and it's designed more for immediate delivery. So you can take your SD card from your camera that shoots HLG, plug it into your TV, or upload straight to YouTube, and boom, you've got HDR. But it's more of a delivery. It's less of a yeah, Neon said it. HLG is more delivery, not capture. So yes, you can technically capture and edit it and stuff, but I think there's some misinformation about HLG out there, and you're much better off just shooting log. Best video lens for A6300, $600. Well, I would probably try to get maybe a used Sony 18-105, because that lens is just a great all-arounder. If you're doing video work, man, that's a great starter lens. If you really want, and we're talking about Sony mounts, right? Unless you want to go non-Sony, in which case there's a gazillion options. I'm really enjoying their primes. So the 28mm f2 is really, really good. I like that a lot. I feel like that's, I think, under 600, maybe 800. Yeah, Sony lenses are kind of interesting right now. Couldn't you just use an HDR-enabled TV? Yes, you totally could. Like, I know a lot of guys use the C7, C8 from LG for HDR monitors. But again, you still need a way for your software to talk to the TV and tell it exactly what to display. And that's kind of the, first of all, a lot of people kind of don't know what's going on there, and it's expensive. Okay, so I'm desynced. Check, check, check. You're right. Let's fix that. Check, Well, actually, looks okay here. Maybe it isn't. You don't need an HDR monitor. Yes, so you can work around it. But if you want to see it, there's not as many good options right now. Like in Final Cut, you can grade blind essentially. There's tons of great settings in there and ways to only show certain ranges without the entire dynamic range, and so you can totally do it. But if you want to look off to the side or at your monitor and see exactly what the entire image is going to look like, can't really do it easily and cheaply. And again, I'm coming from a, Apple end. I'm not sure what that looks like over in Windows land. Yeah. Good point, though, modern-wise. Scopes and DaVinci. See, I got to try that. Yeah. I'll scroll up here a little bit, see if I missed anything. Let's see. What do I think about Sigma 16 1.4? I know a lot of people love that. I haven't personally used it, but I'm sure it's great. I've been kind of I'm really interested to see what their new FE lenses are gonna be like. They essentially took their art series and stapled on one of those adapters. If the autofocus is fast enough, I'd like to consider those, because here's the deal. Let's do some shopping. Let's do some lens shopping. If you are using, let me open Chrome so we can actually see what's up. Boop. Let me adjust some things. Oh, this is awkward. There we go. I don't know why that's all janky looking. Can I shrink this window? Will that fix things? That's better. Okay. So, in short, I'm really stoked about Sony's full frame cameras, where they're going. They're starting to get really good. They were good before, but now they're really, really good. So the problem is lenses. If you want to play with that autofocus, that's amazing. You got to fork out some serious coins. So right now, let's go to B&H probably. What's going on here? Why aren't you autofilling? There we go. So right now I have the Sony 28mm f2. All right. f2. There it is. Right. Love this lens. Really, really dig it. It's fast at f2, and I'll drop it in here for you guys. It's fast at f2. It's on the full frame. It's amazing how wide it is. A lot of my recent videos have been shot with that, and you can go into a smaller space, and it's just money. So lens-wise, I'm thinking about getting like a 50mm. But here's the problem: to get a 50mm Sony FE, and the FE stands for the full frame. You've got this cheapo one, which is $200. That's cool, but the autofocus is kind of poopy. You got this beast, which is, expensive, $1,400 on sale. You got the macro lens, so a little slower. You got the 1.4 we talked about. There's a 55mm, which it isn't showing, but that's also super expensive from Zeiss. So there's not, budget-ish friendly. Here's the 55, so that's like $900. So if the Sigma lenses are going to be dope, then I would definitely be all about those. So like the Sigma FE. So we got the 3514. That's not showing me the FE, is it? Oh, there we go. So, the problem with those, though, is they're going to be huge in size comparison. They're big lenses because they didn't really change much going over. So Beef Jesus says the Loxia 50 is beautiful but crazy expensive, no autofocus. Yes, I've shot with the Loxia lenses for the first time over NAB. I was doing some stuff with Adamus before the show. And wow, those are beautiful lenses. But you're right, they're crazy expensive. And if I was like a shooter, so here's the deal. If I was doing what I used to do, just I'm a camera operator, editor, owning my own kit, right now I'd probably own an FS5 and a set of these and like a couple zooms. And I would be done. Just that camera I think is incredible for you know, corporate style shooters. You know, you've got that variable ND, size isn't bad. And then some of these lenses to spice up your life a little bit. Whew. They are unbelievable to work with. These are really, really great. Thoughts on the new Blackmagic? We talked about the Pocket Cinema camera. Super stoked to play with it and actually get some footage. But until then, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think it'll be great, but, you know, it's hard to tell without actually using it. You're right. By Zeiss standards, Loxi is the furthest thing from expensive. Yeah, I agree. And the only reason I wouldn't go for them personally is because I'm doing this whole YouTube thing, and that autofocus is really nice to have. Let's see. What's a good set of lenses for the GH5S? There's obviously the standard Panasonic stuff, but with the GH5S, I think of that camera a little differently. I would get a speed booster, either from Metabones or from, what's the other one? Let me find it for you guys. I'll drop a link. I don't know if they're available anymore, but it's the Viltrox. I have it on a list here somewhere. EFM2, does that sound familiar? Yes. So the Viltrox EF-M2, dropping a link in the comment section. This thing, why don't I have it on this screen? That's an idiotic thing for me not to do. Here we go. This puppy right here is essentially, what is it, a third the cost of the legit adapter from Metabones, right? Yeah. So you get this thing, you put it on the GH5S, and I would then use it like a Super 35 or larger sensor, because like I talked about in the past, that sensor's big compared to the GH5. So you put a speed booster on it, now you're bigger than the Sony stuff, the Super 35 stuff. And then I would just run with that, because autofocus isn't good enough to justify the smaller lenses for autofocus. And since the GH5S doesn't have in-body stabilization, I wouldn't feel bad about bulking up the system. The beauty with the GH5 is you don't need anything. It's got great great image stabilization, so it's nice to keep things compact. But with the GH5S, it's okay to build it up a little bit. A lot of people have tested the Viltrox versus the legit, you know, setup, and it's great. So, not bad. Fujinon. Ooh, yeah, I shot with the Fujinons too for the first time on that same shoot. There's some footage of it in my NAB video. Yeah. Man, the Fujinon 18-55 FS5 Shogun Inferno, that's exactly what we shot, and it was unbelievable. And, you know, ProRes RAW, which, should we do a quick demo of ProRes RAW? Let me know, because I have everything set up if you guys want to see it. ProRes RAW is dynamite. My video is coming out on that very shortly and soon. Pre-ordered, Luke now pre-ordered the Blackmagic 4K. Trying to decide between a Sigma 18-35 with Metabones or buy a couple of Rokinon Primes. Thoughts or other lens suggestions or recommendations? Yeah, that's a tough one. The Sigma 18-35, I know everyone loves it, and I have one, and it's great, but it's so heavy and bulky. And with that camera, which is already a little bit of a beefy little fella, that could be a little bit of a handful. But it could also help with not having stabilization in body. And your range is a little limited. So for the cost, I would probably, if I were you, what I would do is I would get the Rokinon, the Viltrox speed booster, the one we're looking at right now, and that saves you some coin from getting a speed booster unless you already have one. And then I'd probably get the primes. I'm weird like that though. I think I would go for the primes. One that I'm really enjoying now, and the only Rokinon prime I own right now, is the DS version of the 24T 1.5. I love how wide that is, and still fast with low distortion, so that's pretty sweet. Otherwise, just going vintage, man. Get some Nikon or Canon FD primes and go to town. What's up, TSP? I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. It's very kind of you. ProRes RAW demo, please. Okay, let's do it. We'll wrap up with that. Open up Final Cut. Switch back to this mode. Move y'all's beautiful faces over. Let's see if I have it open. ProRes RAW. Did a whole bunch of tests. Let's see which one's which. Let me double check. Essentially, when you to make this work, you have to be using a wide gamut HDR library, which we are. Just kill all that stuff. So here's a shot. Let me hide all this stuff. Those of you who were watching earlier now can see me in something I'm comfortable with. So here's a shot. Shot this with the FS5. Make this a little bigger. FS5 with the Shogun Inferno with a pre-release of the firmware, which is now freely available. Blown out to Kingdom Come. We'll open up scopes here. Look at that. See that line up there? Just solid gone. But if we go in here and I just grab the master, look at that. I just drug it down. And now we're back in beautiful land. Let me make sure the chat is up. And I mean, that's it. What I just showed you is ProRes RAW. There's no dials that give you, information onto, you can't change the ISO or the white balance and see exactly what you shot it at. You just go into color and you just grab it and go to town. It's that easy. And if you watch the waveform over here, let me go into single view mode. Sorry, my light is killing me here. There we go. Reset that. You can see like that would be, if you saw this when you're normally shooting, you're done. You just delete this file. There's nothing you can do to save that. So, but the beauty is too, I'm gonna try hitting play. I don't know if it'll work because I'm doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Look at the playback on this. I'm streaming to you guys right now, and it's playing back without dropping frames. And that's raw. We're playing raw, right? Isn't that crazy? So you're getting the raw capabilities of roughly what DNG would be, but it's ProRes at the same time. So it's designed for editing smoothly. Let's find another shot. So I filmed this as one of my tests. I call this the shot from hell. And again, if you look at that, you're just done. There's nothing you can do to save this normally. But with ProRes RAW, just pull it down. And I'm using the master, but you could just go in here and just start with your highlights. And I love that, looking at that waveform up here. I love watching just death and destruction back to, there's a little bit of clipping there, but there's no way to save that. So we'll go in here, grab my midtones. You know, it's all there. It's awesome. So that's ProRes RAW, pretty dank. And size-wise, yeah, so file sizes aren't terrible. They're better than DNG. Let me pull up my notes. I'm just going to give you guys a little preview of... Get that out of there. You don't need to see my secret video plans. I wrote it all down here. ProRes RAW, Part 1. What is ProRes RAW? File sizes. Here we go. So, DCI 4K, 24 frames per second. So that's what I filmed all this in. So full 4K, 24 frames per second, a 10-second video file. For Cinema DNG is 3.26 gigs. So 3.25 gigabytes for 10 seconds. For ProRes RAW, we're looking at a little over a gig. So not quite 1/3 of Cinema DNG. So they're still big, but it's got to, right? It's RAW, so it needs to be pretty beefy. Yeah, is ProRes RAW the software name? It's the codec name. So it's a RAW codec that's also ProRes. Nice. Resolve demo, right? Yeah, we did that earlier. Can you set the gamma to be S-Log3? Yes. So and I'll go over this in this exhaustive series, but I'll show you guys too. So let's pull up this thing here. Make sure I'm still, can you guys still see this? Yes, okay. So over here in your inspector, you have information in regards to what's going on here. So we've got ProRes RAW. It should have, here we go. Normally it's set to automatically pull in your LUT information. So S-Log2 rather. Where is it? It's not showing up there, but you can have it, it'll automatically pull up the LUTs for you. There we go. Why is it not showing S-Log2? Because this was all shot S-Log2. At any rate, you can have it automatically have camera LUTs or a RAW to log conversion. I don't know why it's not showing that for me. When you import, I'd turn it off. I like to start with, I just want to see exactly what's going on. Turn that to none. And see what it, the file straight up looks like, and then I go to town in, here fixing things. So that's a quick look at ProRes RAW. And yes, so there is two modes. There's the ProRes RAW, and then there's ProRes RAW HQ. ProRes RAW file size difference. Let me hop back over here. Same 10-second file that we were talking about a second ago. ProRes RAW HQ is a 1.36 gigs. ProRes RAW LT or standard was 1.17. So pretty close in file size. But what's crazy is depending on what you're filming, it'll change up. So if everything's lit correctly, it'll actually have a smaller file size. But if you do what I did here when I manufactured this shot from hell, that's going to take, it's going to say, whoa, things are a little crazy here. We're going to capture some more information so that when you sit down to edit, you can save the day here. Will Canon DSLRs get ProRes RAW? You know what? It's going to be interesting. There's a couple caveats. Right now, this might change, but right now it has to be over SDI if you're doing it externally. So that immediately rules out a lot of cameras. It has to be a RAW camera. And currently there's only one camera on the planet that shoots it internally, and that's the DJI Inspire 2 X7. That'll actually record ProRes RAW into the camera, or internally without using an external recorder. So it could change. They also, Apple has to license this to everybody. Right now they haven't worked with Blackmagic. So if Blackmagic gets a license, we could see this tech in the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema. That camera is probably the first one outside of DJI that I could see that happening, because it has the horsepower to record to fast media. And you can't use super cheap media too. That's the other thing. Hopefully this won't freak out my computer. Yeah. So this is an Angel Bird drive. It's kind of expensive, but you have to have a fast drive for it. There are way more affordable options now, though, or coming out. So for a couple $100, you could get an SSD that would do the trick. Yeah. What kind of video do you want? Commercial, documentary, short film? I must have missed some stuff. What did we use to shoot? So what you're looking at right now is right behind me. Let me grab it. I'm just giving you guys all my video information here, all my future videos via a live stream. I may have to hide some of this video. Let me go back to full screen. So I bought this beast. Excuse the stupid microphone. I just needed some scratch audio. I need to get a better shot here. So this is the FS700. Remember this thing? Yeah. So you can pick these up pretty affordably-ish used. And with the Shogun Inferno, which I already had, and I had already purchased, and if this is the FS700R or you buy the raw upgrade, this camera goes from a slowly dying cinema camera or video camera to a Super 35 sensor that can shoot up to 4K 120 frames per second in burst mode, or 4K 60p, or 2K 240 frames per second, all in ProRes RAW, which is super exciting. And this camera you can get for $2,200 to $2,500, so that's pretty impressive. Yeah, so that's what I shot. This weird footage of me just sitting there destroying my exposure in order to test ProRes RAW. The other stuff in Vegas, let's see. Here's another shot. There's got to be something better than this stuff, huh? Let's see what we got in here. Okay, here's some other footage. Let's completely kill all this stuff. Boop, 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 boop. That's well exposed, so that's kind of a boring example. Here we go. Some nice fountain stuff. Go in here. This was all shot on the FS 5, not the Mark II, but the 5. And again, I could do this all day because it's so much fun, going from a completely ruined shot to just pulling your levels down, and you're good to go. Not that you should just film willy-nilly, but you guys get the idea. You can save destroyed shots. So that's what's up with ProRes RAW. Stay tuned. I'm going to go through everything you need to know about it. We're going to go through I'm going to do 3 parts. Part 1, what is it exactly and what do you need to know about the codec? Number 2, acquisition, cameras needed, setting up cameras, filming, all the little things you need to think about there. And then number 3, pulling it into Final Cut, setting up your settings, and actually what you can do with it. So that'll come up here before too long. Yeah. So I think we're going to finish up there. It looks like we're just around an hour. Thank you guys for sticking with me. I have no idea how many of you are out there in the arena. 170. Nice. And this was fun. We didn't do too much in Resolve, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe we'll do some more content on that. Let me know if you want to see me edit a whole video in Final Cut. We could do that. And I think next week we're going to do some A7S III content on the live stream. And I think that's about going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. It's a lot of fun, and I'll see you in the next video.